Hi, I'm Tony Strickland, Mayor of Huntington Beach, and I want to welcome you to our first show of the Mayor's Roundtable. I decided to do the Mayor's Roundtable because I think it's very essential and important for our citizens to understand what's going on in City Hall and actually get information from leaders at City Hall so they understand what's going on here in our wonderful city, here in Surf City. We're very fortunate to have as our first guest Chief Eric Parra, who's done a remarkable job here in Huntington Beach. The most essential role of government is public safety, and we have one of the safest cities in the country. And we have the best police chief in the nation. And we actually happen to have him as a resident here in Huntington Beach. Chief, thanks so much for joining us on my first show. So
it's my pleasure.
Chief, I'm a big admirer of yours, and I know a little bit about your background, but tell the viewers maybe how you got into law enforcement, maybe your background, where you grew up, and how you went into law enforcement, and maybe some of your background before you got to Huntington Beach.
Certainly. So as you mentioned earlier, before I go into that, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I might be the chief of police, but I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I get to live in the city where I work, and I get to see the results. When you make policy direction and I'm able to implement that, and I drive to and from work every day, and I look at it and I get to see that come to reality, it's the greatest feeling in the world. So for me, I've never had something like this, but my dad was in law enforcement with the LA Sheriff's Department, and I didn't know what I wanted to do necessarily, but I ended up going into the Sheriff's Department, LA Sheriff's Department, when I was just out of college, and I didn't know that I was going to stay. I was going to go either to law school or to med school, and I chose law school, ended up going to law school, becoming an attorney. But I was in the Sheriff's Department at the time, so it wasn't exciting to be an attorney. Probably might have made more money, but it wasn't exciting. My passion was law enforcement. So I stayed in the Sheriff's Department, ultimately left after 32 years, went to Alhambra. I became their chief of police. And then when this job opened, I said, you know what, I'm going to come down and I'm going to apply for it. And I was lucky enough to get this job. And like I said, this is my dream job. And I've been here a year and a half, and I plan to stay for a very long time.
Chief, where did you grow up?
I grew up in San Pedro, and I loved that community. It was nice. It was like a fishing, surfy type of community, and I would always go from San Pedro to Rolling Hills to Torrance, and I would just surf all over the place and have a blast. And it wasn't really populated back then. And I moved to Huntington Beach in 1993, and this is where I've been since then.
Wow. So, as police chief of Huntington Beach, we have a tremendous police department, as you know, but what are some of the biggest challenges that you see that you have being chief of police here in Huntington Beach right now?
So the first challenge that I have is not related to crime. It's related to just the ability to recruit and retain our staff, our sworn staff. I need to retain sworn and non-sworn, but I'm having a significant issue just getting people to want to be police officers nowadays. It's not a unique issue to Huntington Beach. Nationally, there's a problem, but I'm down a significant number of officers right now, and for me to we're figuring out through different strategies on how to recruit people. You and your council have been amazing in terms of some negotiations we're going through with our POA, and hopefully that comes to fruition. And I think with a new contract and with some different strategies, we'll be able to get up to full staffing pretty soon. But that is the biggest challenge in terms of internal issues for the PD at the moment.
Well, I'll tell you, as mayor, I'm going to do whatever I can to give you the tools that you need, because again, you're keeping us safe here, and we need as a council to do whatever we can to make sure you have the tools that you need. So you have my commitment as mayor that we're going to push and get that through. The next thing I want to talk about, when I ran for city council, the number one issue, it wasn't even close, it was the number 1, 2, and 3 issue. As we walked around and campaigned, it was the homeless situation. In fact, one of the things that really made me decide to run, because my background, I was in the Assembly and Senate, never served at local government. I was turning from Beach onto Main Street, and I had a homeless person walk right in the middle of the street and walk right to my car window. And I said to myself, you know what? I think I can bring leadership and to try to help solve this problem. Now, you're not going to solve the problem, but you're going to make it better for the residents of Huntington Beach. So I decided to jump in there. And I want to ask you, we as the new council has come in, we've talked about some of the issues in terms of enforcement and homelessness. What are your thoughts? What are you doing from your end on the police, as police chief, to help solve that problem? Because right now, we just did a recent poll. It has dropped dramatically since I ran, but we still have a lot more to do. So what are some of the things that that we're seeing that are improving here in this town on homelessness.
So your support has been tremendous, and thank you for that. It's been truly a game changer. We have moved the needle in a very positive direction. We're one of the only cities anywhere that went from a 2019 count of 340 down to 319, I believe was the number, 329. But we actually decreased our homeless population, which was beautiful. With the support that you're giving us, we're able to do what our plan is to go out and do some more community engagement. And you've authorized some overtime for officers to go out and find out. We already know where our problem locations are. Like you just said, Main and PCH, it's that's near Pier Plaza. It's been a long-term issue, but we haven't gone down and interviewed the shop owners and interviewed people that are there to say what are the regular issues, what are your biggest concerns right there, and then documenting those and then beginning to address those. And also we need to go down to those businesses and have them sign trespassing letters, so that way they don't even have to be involved in the process. When somebody's there that shouldn't be there, we're able to talk to that person. If they don't move on, we can arrest them. But we have the navigation center, and we have a lot of tools that we use to get people off the street. The people that want help in this city, we're committed to giving them help. And I can tell you right now, if somebody comes to us and wants help, we will help them that day, and they will be taken off the streets. It's what we call the service resistant individuals. They're more of a long-term issue, and what we're doing is working with your support and with Michael Gates with the city prosecution efforts and some of our abatement efforts. We're having an impact, and those are the ones that we need to focus on more to get a long-term impact. Mm-hmm. And so the goal is to use a holistic approach. It's not a single-pronged effort here. It's a holistic approach. We've got to use mental health services, our Be Well services, our navigation center, some enforcement efforts, and then we need to educate the community. We need to find out first what their needs are, and then we educate them on how we can help them, and then we go do it. So that's what we're doing.
Well, you're doing a remarkable job. You're doing a remarkable job. The other thing, this kind of hits home personally, and I know it's a regional issue. My mother-in-law got robbed, and so did my brother-in-law here in Huntington Beach. And talking to Todd Spitzer, a former colleague who's a DA, there's this organized crime kind of thing going on in Southern California, and especially a lot of folks here in Huntington Beach have been robbed in their home. Maybe tell us about what you know or what you can say about that issue and how we're going to try to combat some of these. They're coming across the border from, my understanding, from Mexico and Southern America, and coming across, and it's kind of an organized system. It's not just a petty theft kind of crime. And maybe if you could share what we're trying to do to combat that and what you can say, because I know some of the things you can't share. So
we have, for instance, last year there were roughly 35 of those types of burglaries in our city. We've had more burglaries than that, your generic burglaries, but the organized theft group burglaries, roughly 35, and half of those were in our Huntington Harbor area. Mm-hmm. And they choose the harbor area, they choose the horse tract area, and then they'll choose Seacliff, the country club, every so often. And they target second stories, generally. And what they do is they do pre-operational surveillance. So they bring these people in from South America, and the people don't know who hired them. They don't have a clue, and they're in on a visa that doesn't make them get a background check. So they can come to our country freely. They get told, you go sit there, you watch that house. As soon as you learn some of their habits, and that they go to dinner every Tuesday night, they will go in on that Tuesday night when you leave, and they rent a car that fits the area. They drive in your driveway, and they'll go up the side of your house. And generally, this is where this is where I'm getting to my answer is, they go to the second story. People generally feel safe in the second story when they leave the house. They don't lock the windows. They don't necessarily alarm it. They don't necessarily put cameras up there. And I would love to have the community make sure that their second story is secure when they leave. Make sure that they have cameras up there. Make sure they have locks. Make sure that they're able to be notified if there's an intrusion, they're notified, so they can call us immediately. So then they go up and they just generally they want to go in the master bedroom closet, take the safe, mm-hmm. and they take the whole safe and throw mm-hmm. it in the SUV, and they're gone. How can we get the citizens to help us more on this? It comes down to the simplicity of the saying, see something, say something. Mm-hmm. We've had several incidents where people have the next day told us, well, I saw that car there yesterday, but I didn't call. Mm-hmm. And my response is, well, why? Mm-hmm. And because they don't want to bother the police. And if I could get any message out here, you cannot bother the police. We're here 24/7. We're here for the citizens of this community. There's no issue too small. There's nothing that would be considered trivial for us. We will come out. So if you notice something that doesn't seem normal in your neighborhood, call us. And we'll come out and we'll look at it and we can interdict those things.
Actually, the reason why I'm smiling, Chief, is because I'm one of those people. Like, my wife saw something irregular in our neighborhood, and she asked me to inform you and inform and I go, I don't want to bother the chief. I don't want to bother the police on this. So that is a very important message to the constituents, because I'm one that's guilty. When my wife saw something irregular, I was apprehensive of informing the police department, because I know how busy you guys are. But that's a strong message. What else can the citizens do to support the police in our community?
What I would like them to do, the citizens are our eyes and ears. The citizens are our partners. The citizens are what feed us information relative to any crime. What I'm looking for is, again, see something, say something on everything. I'm looking for them to get more active with the MyHB app and to begin to post things. If you go through the MyHB app, it's very user-friendly. It has everything from coyote reporting to suspicious incident to homeless to things like that. And if you don't want to call, if you feel like what you were just talking about, hey, I don't want to bother the police, which you can't do, go on MyHB, put it in there. We still get that and we'll still respond. So the biggest thing I can get from citizens, and we do put out and monitor our social media, monitor our Facebook, because we put out crime prevention tips. We put out e-bike safety tips. We put out our operations that we're conducting in terms of DUI operations and things like that. I just need a better communication with the citizens. If we could get that communication pipeline fully opened, we would have significant positive results.
So my last question is, what did I miss? Is there anything that you want to communicate to the residents that I may have not asked you that you want to get across to our citizens?
So you know what's funny is it makes me laugh, but not in a funny way. We have a lot of complaints in the city, but they're not complaints related to, we're not having drive-bys, we're not having these really violent crimes. In fact, our detectives solve anything that's assault or violent crime very quickly. We're on that, but we have homelessness is our big issue. We have e-bikes that are an issue, and we have DUIs that are an issue. And that's something also that I want the public to always report if they see anybody they think is driving erratic. There's call us, we'll go check it out. And they do that pretty regularly, but I even want more. So with e-bike issues, it's so funny because I get these emails regularly. You don't do anything about e-bikes. I'm like, oh my gosh, we do so many things, but we do enforcement efforts. We do a lot of education. We do bicycle rodeos, and we're out at the high schools with these pilot programs to get them to register, to get them to go through watching videos, to get them to do education for their e-bikes. So I want the public to know that we're on that, and we're on anything that will make their lives better. Quality of life is so important to us in Huntington Beach. That's why I live here. That's why you live here. And my goal is to improve quality of life in any way that I can. So to reiterate, see something, say something. Nothing is too small. Please give us that information. Let us go out and take a look, and we'll go from there. That's the most important thing.
Well, Chief, thanks so much for joining me.
Yes, sir.
And I also want to thank the residents and the audience for joining our show of the Mayor's Roundtable. Our next guest will be Chief Haberly of the Fire Department. And again, my name is Tony Strickland, Mayor of Huntington Beach. Very blessed to be your mayor. And please communicate to me through our office website that's below us. If you have any questions from the mayor, if I could do anything, I would love to take your voice to City Hall to make all of our lives better here in Huntington Beach. Thank you.